Welcome to this episode, which is not going to be a tutorial or a tutorial request, but rather a learning experience for those among you that are more about being hands-on with existing projects and picking them and breaking them apart to learn that way. Because today we have available to us on the Epic Marketplace a StackoBot, a UE5 game starter kit available. So you can either click on this banner up here or just search for StackoBot. And you'll find the project here, and you can just download the project and then open it up. So let's jump into and see what it looks like. Before we continue with the video, if you like what I'm doing here on this channel, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel a lot. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So here we are inside of Unreal Engine 5 in this StackoBot project. Now this is the view that you will be presented with when you load in. It will have some text available to you mentioning world partition, although this map is not very big, so I'm not entirely sure if that's even warranted in this case, but putting that aside, this is what is described in the project as a vertical slice of a game. If you're not aware of what that means, you can essentially see it as a sort of short demonstration of features and systems available to a game. So it doesn't have a lot of content, so it doesn't have a lot of width and a lot of depth, but it presents many, if not all, of the systems that are in place, so you can envision sort of what you could possibly do with it. And this is very useful if you're learning, because you have a lot of different things here you can actually delve into and investigate. To start off with, if we just start playing the game, you can see we get a little splash screen there and we get loaded in as this character. This character has some fairly decent animation going on. It is done partly by a medium-sized animation blueprint, I would say, for a project of this size, and also a control rig to make it fluid and nice and have some things like inverse kinematics when it comes to the feet, so you can see that there's some of that going on here. The project is littered with a few different types of blueprints. So one of them is the one I'm standing on currently, and you can see, if we make this larger, in the bottom right we can see print robot, and in the top left we can say orbs 8. So by pressing F we will abandon the current robot that we are in and respawn in a different one and possess it. So we can open up this door by standing on both the blueprint pads here, for example. So functionality like this are all around to display how that can be done. And in this case here you can see that the pads are used for opening a door. But over here, for example, if we walk over here, we can see they have a different functionality. They start the turbine over there, so wind goes up. So if we were to spawn another character, we can now go over, let's see, there we go. Go over here and actually be thrust up with the wind here. And like I said, in addition to the printing functionality to possess a new robot, you also have the ability to collect orbs. So all around the level. And let's see, do I actually see any of them now? So over here, for example. Also, we have a jetpack, which we can activate as sort of a double jump, like so. Getting to an orb, we get some sound effects and we pick up an orb, and the incremental of the widget is displayed over there. So there's a lot of very small tidbits here that you can make use of to like learn from in different ways. And if you want to, you can explore and play the game as well. So looking at some of the things that you have in this, one of the things that I think is very important or useful for a learner is that if you go to Content, StackoBot, Blueprints and Framework, you get a blueprint function library. If you have followed along with my tutorials, you should be familiar with this. You have a game instance, also something you should be familiar with if you have been following my tutorials. And you also have things like a player controller, a HUD, a game mode, and over here is another game instance. Oh, sorry, this is a blueprint interface, not a game instance. But it's called Blueprint Interface Game Instance. So these are all very good because you can get sort of a sense of how can these be used, what kind of information do they hold. So you can see here what kind of functions and variables you could have in a game instance, for example. And all the code, as you can see here, is well documented by comments all around, describing some overarching functionality and information. And then you have the different code partitions also commented very well. And this is consistent throughout. So if you open up the energy orb, which is the pickup, you can see that we have events for what happens in the beginning when it spawns, some rotations when it's ticking, and some overlap logic, what happens then. And you can see like each part is commented, so you can follow along and see what happens. So it's a very good project for you to play around with and learn if you're new to all of these areas. Most of these we have handled in tutorials previously, however not everything. There are some notable exceptions. There are things like, well, we have handled save games and UI and things like that. But one thing is inputs over here. Inputs is something they have done here in a way that we have not been talking about yet. So that could be something interesting to watch. Also, if you go into the character itself, you can see, now let's start with the actual character. So the actual character is going to be on the characters, under bot, and no. Let's see, blueprints. There we go, BP bot. So under content, Stackabot, blueprints, character. So here we have the character, and we can see there is some logic in here, but it's not overwhelmingly much. So it's very interesting to like see what the different parts do. Also, something that's pretty nice is that this has a pretty good animation blueprint to look at. If you have been following along with my tutorials on blueprints, animation blueprints and animations in general, you should be fairly used to all of this, because we have gone through most of these things in our tutorials multiple times. So they have like caching and different state machines handling different things, so you can click in on and see all of these and read all the descriptions to see what they're doing. And also, in addition to everything like that, they also have a control rig set up. So you can double click here and you can get into the control rig, and you can see what that looks like for this character. And also everything here is commented as well, so you can get a better understanding of what the different parts do. So all in all, I think this is a very good project for those among you that want to get their hands dirty, break stuff and learn that way, instead of not always necessarily following video tutorials showing you how to do things. This is a more destructive or creative way to learn, I suppose. And there is a lot of different things here to learn from actually. So it's a very nice project, and we should be happy that it is made available for us. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you did not like it, leave a dislike. Leave any suggestions or comments you have down below. Subscribe and share this video if you want to see more like it in the future. That is all for now. Keep on learning. Take care.